time. So, okay, so everyone, thank you so much for joining me today on our training, which is basically called Survey Analytics 101. And the purpose of this is to, give you the basic tools to get started with our tool. And we're just going to go over 5 very simple basic things to get started so you can go out and work with the tool and learn how to update accounts, how to do a survey, how to customize your survey and add some security options, as well as adding some deployment options to your surveys, and then we'll finish it up with some reporting and analytics.
I'm sorry, Esther, can I just jump in? This is Shawnee. I was cutting in to say, I don't know if other people need to mute themselves because there is a little bit of background noise, but Esther, it's kind of hard to hear you.
Okay.
Yes, everyone needs to mute themselves, and Esther needs to speak louder. Thanks.
Okay, I will definitely do that. Let me just make sure that I have my sound up as loud as possible here. Hopefully you guys can hear me a lot better here. So again, this is our agenda for today to get started. And the very first thing we're going to do is just look at the how to update accounts and share the folders. For this account here, the main administrator is going to be Shani. And so if you have any issues with having to change your password, or if you don't know what that is, she'll be able to help you with that. And Shani, I will show you exactly where you can do this. So with your ability as the main administrator, you'll be able to update the email addresses, send passwords, reset passwords, and you can also log into their sub-accounts. And I also have a copy of this for you guys, so I can deploy this or send this PowerPoint to you afterwards, so you can check out a copy of where you can go to make the changes. Also, once you guys all have an account, you can also share folders with each other. Everyone who should have an account should have received a username and password notification directly from me. If you did not get that, let me know after the meeting, and I'll be happy to resend that to you as well. So let's go ahead and show you what you would need to do here, especially for you, Shane, if you want to help people with resetting your password and getting started. So what you do is when you log into your Survey Analytics account, you just need to go to your email on the top right hand corner, and then you can just click on the multi-user admin here, and you can make changes to the email. You can email people their password from here. Also, if you need to change people from different sub-accounts and assign it to someone new, you don't have to contact me. You can do this on your own. And also from within inside here, you can also manage the permissions and folders. And this is where you can choose to share the surveys. And keep in mind again that Shani is not the only one that can get access to share folders. Actually, everyone who does have an account can do this. So once you have that all set up, if you'd like to go in and if there's ever an instance where you need to log in and check out the status of a survey of someone who's not in the office, you can always log into their account and check out what's going on in their survey as well. Now, once everyone's all set up and you've made some changes to the admin, you can now go ahead and everyone who logs in can now start by creating your first survey, or most likely you can also start creating your own folder. And it's pretty simple. You just go to the Surveys tab and then add New Folder and then give it a name, and then you can create your new folder. Once you create your new folder, you can start setting up some surveys, or you can start moving surveys. And then after you do that, you can also change your settings and also share this folder with other team members. And everyone who has an account that's underneath Shani's account, they'll all show up underneath as a sub-account, and then you can just select who you'd like to go ahead and share that folder with. So
Okay,
now
Esther,
just...
this is Ian. So everybody who's going to have access from EMC should be able to see every folder that everyone else is doing. Is there a way to set that by default? Question one, and question two, it's actually Shawnee.
That's a good question. Right now, by default, you can do that inside the attachment, and that would be done underneath me. But as you continue to create new folders, you will need to manually go in and set this up manually. Does that answer your question on that? So what I can...
Actually, I need a little more clarification. This is Shawnee. You're saying that it will not automatically share with everybody?
No, it won't automatically share with everybody at first, but we can. Let me go ahead and log into your account after this and see if I can change that connection to make sure that all the accounts can be shared. Because I think right now
Okay.
the way that I had set it up was that it's not completely shared. So let me just make a note.
Okay, and I have another question about how and who we are going to set up the accounts for. So does everybody automatically have one created, and how do we access it? And if it's not automatically created, how do we do it? Do I need to go in and add everybody, or?
I already did that for you guys, so you should have received. Everyone who got an account should have received a email and password. Did you get one from me, Shani?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't.
No.
Okay. Okay, and then I can.
Did everybody else? Did anybody get an email with the password and login for Survey
Oh, that's
Analytics?
odd. It should have sent it out, so it should get.
Some of us.
If anyone did get one, please speak up.
Yeah, Catherine here in Oakland did, Roger did, Jessica did not. And I don't think anyone else did.
Okay.
But Roger and I have.
Huh.
Okay, so just to be aware, there's a limited number of these accounts. Not everyone is going to get one. So I try to distribute them across the teams. If we need to change that, we should actually put the list up that I shared with you, Esther, and everyone can see what that list was.
Okay. Sure. Let me see if I can find that email real fast here.
And I'm searching through my email. Okay, I did get something last Thursday.
Okay, you did. Okay, and
the pictures didn't download.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so anyone who has the word admin next to them, they should have received something. And if they have not, just let me know. I can just resend it again if you like. And Shani, if you'd like to do that yourself, you can also by logging in, and you can just email the password again right here. Because that's literally what I'm going to be doing, is logging into your account and then emailing it from here.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so you can go ahead and do that. From this list, is there anyone I'm missing, or they said they did not? We can just go ahead and have Shani email everyone. Does that sound good? Okay. Alrighty. So that's just kind of the first part. The second part, of course, is just kind of going back, and I'll let you know if there's a way that we can automatically default that allows everyone to see everyone's account. Currently, now that I think about it, I'm not really sure if that is available. I know that you can default it when you attach the accounts, but I'm not sure if we can do that. But if anything, if that's required, you can always just shoot me an email. I can do it super fast. It's literally a click of a button, and then you should have access. So once you have created and you've shared your folders, everyone who does have any shared folders, you're going to see those under what's called your global surveys. I'm in my account here. No one's shared me any of my folders yet, or any folders to me. But if you do have accounts that are being shared with you, or folders shared, you'll see those underneath your global surveys. All of these above here are all the folders and surveys that you yourself have created. And then if you want to share it again, just go ahead and click your settings and then update that. So that's the first part. Any other questions about updating accounts, sharing folders, and just the administrative side of survey analytics?
No, thanks.
Okay, wonderful. So the next one here, we're just going to go into some survey creation, and we're going to be talking about, how you can add some introductions and questions, how to customize your survey link, adding images and multimedia. We'll also look at some logic setup options, including branching, show, hide, extraction, and more, as well as some complex logic options. So, I know you guys probably do have some very complex surveys, and we're here and we're able to be able to handle those. If there's any situation where you have some additional complex logic that can't be done through the standard logic options we do offer some custom scripting internally, so we can be able to take the particular survey you're looking for, we can review it and we can escalate it to the team and get a turnaround time of between 24 to 48 hours on scripting options. So that's just the basics about survey creation. And to get started, all you need to do really is just open up your account, and then you can create your new survey here. And we have 3 ways that you can get started here. You can either choose a standard survey template. The most popular one is just the survey from scratch, or you can use the Word document import, although you have to add some placers to your survey, so you can click on this question mark, and then it'll give you an example of what you need to use. But the one that most people will be using, and I'm sure most of you guys will be using, is the survey from scratch. And then you can just create a survey name, and then select what folder you want it in. And you can also create a new folder as well. Once you do that, you can choose your layout here, and you can always come back to this later if you like. This third one is just connecting with Facebook, and it's whether or not you want to collect data via Facebook and also validate them through their Facebook connection. Most of my clients, except for some large gaming clients of mine, do not use this. So this is just an option for you to consider. However, most people do leave that blank, so I just wanted to point that out. Once you select Finish, this is basically the start of your survey. So you can go right into it and start adding your questions. If you like to be a little bit more formal, you can go ahead and set up a presentation text. We have a default one here. You can also include terms and acceptance checkbox if you like, and then go ahead and save your questions. Once you add your first question, including your intro, you'll start seeing some more options for you to work with. So you can start adding some headers and logos through images, and this is one area that you can go in and upload a file. It's pretty simple. You can just pull up from any kind of file and then upload it up inside.
I have a quick question on this. This is Shawnee again. So I'm assuming that for a lot of studies we're going to want to have them branded with our EMC logo.
Yes.
Is there going to be a shell that we'll be able to access that has that logo, or will we upload this logo and have it accessible every time we want to use it? We just add it in.
For each account, you would need to have a logo. I'm not sure if you could share the images. We do have a new tool called a Media Bunker that's coming out that will allow people to share it. But for right now, the images and stuff, it'll always be in your library and available for you, but you wouldn't be able to initially share it across.
But the library is per user, not across our entire EMC account?
Yes, that's correct. In the future, if you see it here to the left,
so
we have what's called Bunker. You can do that later.
I'm sorry, in the future, you said what?
If you see to the left side here, there's one called a Media Bunker. That's where later you'll be able to add images into it or multimedia and share across the account. But for now, it's account specific.
And I'm sorry. What do you mean later? Like it's just not a feature that's available right now?
Yes, not currently.
But it's being worked on?
Yes, it is being worked
Okay.
on. Yeah, because we do
Okay, thank
recognize
you.
that people need to have that. It makes life a lot easier, especially for sub accounts. So for right now, that's what we have. And over here to the left side is our left navigation toolbar. And what you see in here where you can hit the logo and update, you can also go to the left side and also manage and update logos from inside your multimedia library as well. So other things besides the header and logo that you can add, you can also update your theme here if you want. And then you can also, once you create your survey, if you also want to deploy it or print it out in Word document, PDF, or HTML, you can also do that as well. So these are just some extra options for you if you want to deploy it in multiple ways. Once you have your survey and you added some questions, I'm just going to add another one in here. I just want to show you some of the edit options so you know where to access these when you need to go in to make some changes to your survey. So here. So it's very simple, multiple choice, select one question. Once you add your questions, you build out all your survey questions and whatnot, people can go inside here and they like to make some edits. So you can go in here and edit your text choices, and you'll see that the question text is above. Our answer is always one per line. You can also change the settings in your survey. So if you want to do some validation of specific questions in your survey, not all of this entire survey, you can go in here and enable validation, which makes it a required response. If you like to randomize the answer options, so red and blue gets switched randomly, then you can do that from in here. You can also change your answer display, so if you, instead of doing buttons, radio buttons, you can do a drop-down box, and etc. And if you like to change the line from vertical to horizontal, you can also do that as well. And also change the default location as well. So if you want to move the box from right to left to above or below, you will have those options.
Is there a place where we can force validation for the whole survey, excuse me, without having to do it question by question?
Yes, absolutely. I'm only showing this part to you if you just want to do it specifically. And I'll get to that part next.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Now, if you would also like to include in your questions some, excuse me about that, instructions or headers, or if you'd like to embed a YouTube video, you want to go into your what's called your display settings underneath your question types, and right here you can just add some additional notes. And then from here you can add your YouTube video code number, which is basically the last 9, or I think it's like 7 and 9 digits of the link. You can just copy that inside here, and then you can play your video. If you like to change the way you display the survey questions with alternating colors or colors with a border, so it's a little bit more pronounced and people can read it better, you can do that. And then you can also change your answer widths and question widths as well. And any changes that you make, you need to push the save question below, or else anything you make changes on won't stick. Other things you can also do here is you can also add some tips. So instead of just adding instructions, you can add like an image icon or a text hyperlink. So if you don't want it to be too cluttered, this is just another way that you can add some quick information. And this is just for any kind of questions that are a little bit more, that require a little bit more explanation and stuff like that. So these are available and inside your questions. We also have some analytics available for these question types. So if you want to add some charting options, you can change it from our default, which is usually a graph, and then if you want to change it to a pie chart, other kind of things, you can also do that. If you also like to change the scales or the custom scaling, you can also do that. We usually default, from 1, 2, 3, 4 for every answer, going from top to bottom on the answer options. But if you like to do like -5 to +5 on certain question types, you can go inside here and make those changes as well.
Okay, so Esther, can I pause you there? The charting options are for us in analysis, not for you're not talking about showing a pop-up answer question when the respondent takes blue or red, they would see what everyone else has, blue or red. That's not what you're talking about, right?
Yes, that is correct. So this is when you look at the analysis. So you can change it inside here. You also have the option later in the report if you want to add this too, you can. So we put it in multiple areas just in case you want to get it out of the way earlier on. Below here is a spotlight configuration, and that basically is a part of the reporting. It allows people to see how they answered a survey, how they answered their survey relative to everyone else. And they default as this, but it doesn't work unless you actually turn on the spotlight report. Most people usually just leave it blank right now. And then go ahead and save your changes, and then you can move on. The last one here we have is the panel. And I believe that John had sold you guys the panel tool. And you can just choose specifically which panel this is going to. So say for instance I've got my Hello Kitty fans and I'm adding some additional profile fields. You can add those profiling questions within the survey and make sure you collect data from those as well. In this particular...
sorry, don't close that yet. Can you pause there for a minute and go back to that panel? Because that's one we're very interested in coming up soon.
Yes.
So if I understood that, what you're telling me is that in order to make a question active for a particular panel, I have to select them here. So if I have a series of 10 questions in a survey and they're all going to the same panel, I have to select every one, or is this just like a one-off, this is the only question that goes there, I can create a questionnaire for an entire panel somewhere else?
That's a good question, but basically what we're doing here is we're syncing the data that we're putting in here into the panel. And so when you set up the panel, and we're not going to talk about this today, but when you set up your panel, you'll set up some profiling questions. So for instance, in my panel here, I set up some information like birthday, zip code, what's your gender, marital status, blah, blah, blah. And in order for me to collect that, then yes, I will need to pull up exactly what this is and then save the changes, and then I can add it into the survey so you can see here. So now we have that as part of the profile field. And so whatever they collect, whatever your answer is here, then you can collect it and it will be saved underneath those specific answers. So that's how you would get started with that. Today we're just going to be talking mainly about the surveying stuff. We're not going to be talking about the panel. It's a different ball game, but this is where you would be spending your time in terms of taking the data that you are collecting from the survey and making sure it is saved properly into your panel profiling information. Any other questions about that before I move on? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and continue here. So again, that's just all the different options that you can see underneath the edit. And then of course, if you want to access all of this again, you can also see it under more with the settings. If you'd like to copy the survey question over or into your question library, which everyone will have, you can do that. If you'd like to reorder the survey questions within the survey, you can. If you'd like to do a quick preview of what this would look like for your respondents when they take the survey, you can also do that, and then you can also delete that as well.
And this is Shawnee again with another question, and you may be getting to this, but is there a way to sort of copy the format of a question, because we use the same answer choices quite often, so is there a way to either select those answer choices and drop them in, or to pull over a question that you've already created without having to write the whole thing again?
Yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead and do that scenario right now. So say for instance you guys are sharing all your surveys together and you want to access or a question from a particular survey you already built and you don't want to repeat yourself over and over and do it again. You can totally do that. by going to what's called your library or / survey, and this is your own personal library. And what this will do is it will allow you to pull up a bunch of questions that you've saved or copied into your library. And then the second thing, oops, let me see if I can scroll down just a little bit more here. So, I'm not sure why this isn't. So, for instance here, you should be able to just click which question you want and then go ahead and scroll down. I'm not sure why, but I can't seem to get to the very bottom. There's something weird with my MacBook. Okay, here we go. So now you can do, you can copy the questions over. And this should be able to add the question directly from here. So it includes some formatting things where I added some tips in there and everything as well. And you should also be able to do this if you want to go into like your library and then pull up from a specific survey as well. So if you want to go into any one of your surveys that you built, say for instance here, I can go into a about Austin bat facts, and then I can pull up the survey that I want to copy over here, and then copy the survey right over, and then it should be available inside the survey. Any other questions about that? If there's no more questions about that, that's fine. Let's go ahead and we'll move over to some display options and customization. And then actually I'll jump into the logic options soon after that. So one of the things that you can also do in your survey here is that you can change your theme. If you have someone at your company that is familiar with CSS, then you can also have them go in here and change some global style elements for you and use CSS to make some changes. And all you literally have to do is give this to them. They can update it, and then you can copy and paste it and save it. One of the good things is that if you copy it and Shani saves it, then everyone else will have access to it in their account by going down to the org customized. So you don't have to copy and paste the CSS over and over. So that's one good thing that we know we have for sure. If you like to change your font type, font size, survey width, you can also do that. If you like to enable mobile compatibility, you can also do that from inside here. Changing the navigation and toolbars is available. If you like to do a multilingual survey, you can also add additional language versions. Obviously, once you add your language versions, then you'll need to go into the edit survey options where we were just a minute ago and add your translations. This doesn't automatically translate it for you. And then once you have that, then you can also go into changing your validation message. And you also can turn on your option here to do an interactive survey tool or not. And basically that will just allow the survey, instead of waiting for a person to click on continue, the survey just moves on for you. So the default is a none, but if you like to do that, you can turn that on. It makes the survey taking process a lot faster. So once you add all your updates, you can just save your changes on the very bottom. And we're going to go into global options, and then this is where you can add some additional things like validation for an entire survey and whatnot. So say for instance you do want to add validation, just go ahead and click on the left box here next to code, and it automatically will checkbox all the boxes to the left, which means all the questions have been selected, and then click on updated select questions.
And is there something in here that indicates clicking that will cause it to validate everything?
No, it doesn't validate it yet. This is where it validates it. So now that you see that,
Okay.
yeah, so
Just clicking on all those questions so that we know that whatever we're going to do next is going to act on all those questions.
yeah, so basically, if you take it off, it's all gone. But when you click on it, all of it is going to be turned on. So once you update this, then you can go inside here and add some additional customization. So say for instance you want to have separators after each question and just put one question per page. You can do that automatically here instead of manually on the add edit option template. And then of course if you want to validate or require all the responses, you can turn that on. Just because it's marked like this doesn't mean that it's been saved. You actually have to physically click on Save Changes here in order to make sure that it's turned on. Other things also that you can do inside here is you can also automatically change the width and answers, widths of the surveys right inside here instead of doing it individually. One other thing you can also do inside here, which I also think is fairly important, is you can also update your question codes. These question codes will give you, they're automated, but you can also change those so it'll match the codes that you guys want to use as well. So that will allow you to make changes a lot quicker versus doing it inside the add edit template. Another thing inside the global survey options is that, if you have any issues with logic or you want to check your logic options, if we did have anything here, you'll be able to view a flow chart. You can look at some logic criteria, and then you can check for any errors before you send out your survey. I do highly recommend that people go into the global options just to make sure everything looks clean and it's exactly the way you want this before you deploy it. Any questions about the global options before I continue? Or any additional questions about it?
I got a quick question.
Sure.
How did you say that you open that option box for the global? I don't see, where was the button that you clicked to open up the options to like increase the width and validate for all the questions?
It would be right on the bottom here. It's called Update Selected Questions.
Oh, they actually
yeah.
that. Okay.
So,
Right.
and say for instance, I just want to pick a couple. I can go in here and just pick like 2 out of the 4. Then this will open up this box, and then you can make your changes inside here as well.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and move on to some security options that we have on Survey Analytics. So if you'd like to add a survey authentication option to it, you do have various options here available for you. So the default is usually nothing, but you can also add a global password, email password, username and password, anything like that. If you like to do a Facebook Connect inside here, you can do that. The most popular one most people use is the email and the password. And what this will do is once you enable this and you use an email list with passwords, you can upload that into our system, and then we automatically will validate it according to what you uploaded. And the same thing will go with your global password and username and password and participant IDs that you give to people. This is especially good, especially if you want someone only to take a survey one time, and then you can validate that as well. If you'd like to enable your surveys to be, SSL secure, then, or when you see that HTTPS, you can just turn it on like this, like enable the SSL security option. If you like to prevent people from taking the survey multiple times, you can turn on the prevent ballot box stuffing. So this will allow people to only take the survey once. If they try to click on the survey link again and take it again, you're going to get a message saying that we have records showing that this survey has already been taken, and then they can't continue. So it's not going to make any bloated changes to your survey.
If they've taken half of the survey and then they try to get back in, is that something they can do under a separate function, or will they not be able to do that if this is turned on?
Well, if this is turned on and it's not completed, then yes, there are ways that you can allow them to go in and take the survey again. And I can show you where you can do that. So we do offer and generate links for people that have not completed a survey. So if anyone contacts you and says, hey, I didn't complete a survey, you can find them and send them the link again and have them finish it off where they left off. And that's completely separate from
Okay,
this.
is that addressed by the enabling save and continue, or is this really a special case where we have to contact them ourselves to help them back in?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's so many different scenarios in terms of how my clients and I have done this. But the prevent ballot box stuffing shouldn't get in the way of those who want to complete their survey or anything like that. And plus, if you do, like, say for instance, in our system, we do send reminder emails. And when we send reminder emails for those who have only completed part of a survey, we actually send them the link of where they last left off. So they don't have to start, from the very beginning to finish up a survey for you, even though they didn't finish up a survey or they didn't complete it just yet. So I'll show you where you can do that. It's underneath our response viewer, so that's in our reporting side of everything. Moving on towards the bottom here, if you have a long survey and you want to give people the option to come back and take the survey later, you can enable a save and continue option. And what that will do is if people click on this, they just have to put in their email and their name, and basically once they add that email and name, an email will be sent to them with that reminder link where they left off, and then they can click on it and continue the survey when they're ready and done, ready and they have time to finish up the survey. Below that, we do have quota control and disable survey options. So if you want to turn off a survey or activate it again, you can do that. If you'd like to do a kind inactive message, you can customize this as well. So when people know that, hey, the survey is happening, but then you can go in and say, we've met our quotas, thank you so much for your interest, we'll be in contact with you for another survey. And then you can update your close dates, you can control your response quota, and these are based on completed responses. Then you can update that as well. Other things you also can do, oh, go ahead.
Quotas, sorry, this is Ian. On the quotas, if I'm looking at that, what that says to me is it's a total response quota. I can't set quotas by individual groups like men and women or geography, something like that.
No, not in this particular tool, no. We do have a different tool that you can segment and meet quotas according to that.
Okay.
The last.
I have another question here.
Okay.
Do we have to fill this in? So if we want to get, 1,000 responses and no more, do we have to fill in a response quota, or?
No, it's not necessary that you put this in. This is just for people who want to get it as close to a certain particular number, because we know that just because you've met a quota doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who took your survey it actually fits the quota that you're looking for. So you do not have to have this if you don't want to.
And let me ask it a different way. So if we set this to 1,000 and then will it shut the survey off after we hit 1,000, or will it keep collecting data?
It will shut off the survey as soon as it's done. It will go into an inactive mode.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So down here is the last thing is just the countdown timer. So if you have a timed survey and says you have 5 minutes to take this survey, then you can turn that on. And then a timer will show throughout the duration of them taking the survey. And once you have all this, you have to save your changes on the bottom to enable everything, and then you're all set to go. So any other questions about security or other options on that before I go into some of our logic? If not, then we can go ahead and move on to the next thing. So we do have some basic and also some complex logic available, and I'm just going to jump into some pre-created surveys that I have here. and they're very simple to set up. And here I have just a quick food study, and I'm trying to target women who purchase and consume chocolate on a regular basis. If they're men and they don't, if they're men, we're not interested in them in this particular survey, so I'm going to go ahead and use some branching to target the particular gender I'm looking for. So to set up branching, what you want to do is apply it to this question here, which is the question that you want to branch, the question prior to what question they want to be branched to. So just click on Add and Update Logic, select Branching Skip Logic here, and when you open this up and you have your answer options, it will give you some options to the right here to choose what you'd like to do. So for the males, I'm just going to go ahead and have them terminate them from the survey. And then for females, I'm just going to branch them to the following question. You'll notice here that we have some piping text options and custom variable options. And those are available when you want to take the answers or you want to add some information and apply it into the next follow-up question. But in this particular case, we're not going to do anything here. If you have any additional variables that you'd like to upload into the system, including, I got some demographic info you'd like to default with, then you can also pull that from here. And this will also include, like, if you have the panel and you know that you're targeting particular regions, we use these custom variables and attach them to the panel information, and then you can use that for some additional branching. But for right now, we're just going to leave that blank, and we just basically set it up very simply so both answers have a branch. And then you can also select here a default destination. If they didn't answer anything, what do you want to do? You want to terminate them. So we update them, and you can see it's been updated. And then you can go in and you can test out your survey as many times as you like by doing just a quick preview. And I'm just going to go in here and just make sure that my terminates are on. And then here we have it going directly to where I need to go. So that's great. And the next one I have here is another kind of branching where we are going to enable the default destination to do most of the work for us. And basically, the question here we're asking, what kind of food items you've purchased and consumed in the last month. And we're not really concerned about anything they picked except for chocolates. However, they can pick other options as well. If they say none of the above, obviously we want to make sure that we terminate those. So let's go ahead and select the branching skip logic. And you can see that because the coffee, tea, ice cream, or cake really doesn't matter if they pick those, we're just going to keep them as no branching. And then of course with the chocolates, we'll ask them how much did you spend on chocolate, which is the next follow-up question. And then if they selected none of the above, then we're going to go ahead and terminate them from the survey. And then if they pick everything but chocolate, then we can use the default destination to terminate them from the survey. And then we can add and update that. So here, for example, we can just verify it once again that this is going to work. So hopefully this will open up. So I picked all of the ones except for chocolate, so it should go into a terminate, and then you know it works. And these are just some other additional questions, but those are just some of the basic branching skip patterns. Let me jump into one other survey that has just a little bit more complex stuff that you can work with. Here's just some examples of our some question types that we include as well. And I would strongly suggest that, if you have a chance, just to go in and take a peek at all the standard question types, advanced question types, and add-on modules. Each one has an example that you can review and look at. And if you have any further questions about these question types, how to set it up and everything, because we understand that sometimes the way that we describe what a question type is isn't exactly what other people use or describe them, and we can help you with that as well. But in the meantime here, we'll show you here what we're doing. So we're setting up a complex logic option, and we're going to use what's called compound delayed branching. And we're also going to look at some dynamic comment box logic, quota control options within the survey, and then also an extraction logic. So for this particular example here, it's for Amazon shoppers. We're looking for people or households of 60K or higher. They purchase groceries at least 2 times a week from a grocery store, and then they also purchase items online at least 2 times a month. And so if we ask them a question, if Amazon expanded their grocery selections to find items locally within 10 miles of your home, how likely would you be to use Amazon Fresh? You can ask them, yes or no. So we have some standard questions that will help us with the compound branching to target the segment we're looking for. And so I've got my income question type. Below here I ask them how many times do they go to the grocery store, how many times they purchase online. I also added an allocation of 100 questions for a constant sum question type here, just for fun. Oh, yes?
If I may jump in, so I think this part is pretty clear. I think we'll be able to look through these types and sort out what fits for the survey that we're doing. But I had 2 things I wanted to look at before our time is up.
Okay, sure.
Including how to upload a sample file, and how to maybe use variables on the sample for targeting. And then also, I just wanted to see what an actual survey preview looks like, to see what the actual, respondents view is like.
Okay, sure.
And a third thing, which we can cover after the call, would be how we coordinate with a panel vendor such as Harris Interactive or Research Now, to have them feed samples to the survey that we programmed at Survey Analytics.
Okay,
but
sure.
I think we can do that at a separate time.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll go ahead and if you have questions about the logic later, then I'm there to help you with you guys. So I just wanted to give you a preview of what a survey would look like to a respondent. And if you want to look at it yourself, you can also click on preview on the top right-hand corner. That'll allow you to look at the entire survey on your own as though you're the respondent. So let's go ahead and continue here. And I'll just go through this really fast here. Not sure why this is taking a while.
And obviously, if anybody else has any questions, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, so this is basically what a typical survey would look like. I mean, you would add your banner, images. I matched mine according to, Amazon, and then you can just go in and have them take the survey and then continue on and add your page breaks where you want. So it's a very seamless respondent experience. And obviously, if you have any more feedback or things you think we can do to improve that, we're more than happy to do that. Right now, it doesn't look like it's opening up for me, so I'll go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is the survey deployment options.
Okay, and just a question, because that seems really slow. Was that just a function? I mean, is that normal, or was that just a function of something that we're doing right now?
It's probably because that survey I had, that's like 3 years old, so I need to, obviously I need to go in and make some updates to it. It has nothing to do with the tool itself, it's just me and an old survey that I've created a long time ago. Yeah, so obviously if you keep the survey updated, it should be fine. So if you want to make some changes to and customize your survey links, so instead of making it look like surveyanalytics.com/da-da-da-da, you can go ahead and make some customization here. So you can add some information here if you like. If you'd like to upload a list of emails, and um, this is not particular to the panel that you have. This is if you just want to deploy it as a survey. I do want to reiterate that it's completely separate in terms of how you set it up. When John gets back and stuff, we'll get together and I'll let you know more about that. But if you were to go into your account and just upload a quick list, you're not using our panel, and you've got some information, you can go inside here and create a new email list. Decide if you want it to be specific to a survey or do you want to make it a global list. And then after that you can add how you'd like to add this. What is your file format? So you can use CSV or Excel. We do have the option to go up to 255 variables, so we can collect a lot of really intricate data about the person you're working with. You can also include, this is where you would add like their password and all that kind of stuff as well, or participant IDs. So these are the options that you can pick. The one that's most popular between my clients and I is this one with the email, first name, last name, and then email, first name, last name, password. Those are the two that I don't know why, but people like doing that quite a bit, and then they use that information for segmentation later.
I'm sorry, I was confused by those options. So do you have to have your sample formatted in exactly that format for it to upload that way?
Yes, you do need to have it at least email, first name, last name, and then you can add your additional fields to it. It doesn't have to say necessarily field 1, field 2, or anything like that, but you can definitely do, you can add some other names on top, and then we will pick those up as these different fields.
So if we have a file that came from our client and it's not necessarily in this order, are we going to have to rearrange it to put the email address first and then upload it? Or, if it has different names at the top, is that going to interfere with how it imports?
No, it should not interfere with the name, but you definitely do want to have the email and if you have first name, last name in there, then yes, you definitely want to do that.
Okay. So that's just a note to everybody on the call. I guess if we have a client list, we're going to need to rearrange it so that we have emails first and last as the first three fields?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
as long as you get email, first name, and last name, and then whatever extra fields, if you know you're going to get a list with 50 extra variables, definitely pick the one that says up to 255 so we can support all of it. So that's really important to consider. Any other questions about uploading the email list this way? If not, then I'm just going to head and do an example with my email here. So obviously I uploaded it, and then it shows that it's active, and then you can go ahead and finish this off here. And then you can, once you click on the email list, you can go in and look at some additional things like the actives, unsubscribe, anyone who's pending and bounced, you can review and remove. Inside here, once you click inside here, you can also go in and add additional. So if you want to go ahead and repeat yourself and add some more to the list, you can definitely go inside, pick the format you want, and then upload it again. And once you have your list inside here, it's activated, it's ready to go, then you can go into your survey invitation. And inside your survey invitation, you can make some edits and previews, you can add some new ones. I do want to point out the mail settings to you. So say for instance you don't want this to say it's coming from you, you'd rather have it say it's coming from something more generic or from a client email or something like that. You can edit the email link or address so you know it's not from you. You can change the name, and then you can also change the link text. So instead of having to say start survey, you can say click here to begin.
So if I can just ask, so can we put any email address in the email address there?
Yes, you can. So it doesn't have to be EMC research. It could be, if it's client specific, you can put an email, that's specific to your clients and stuff.
Okay. And is the email itself coming from, the Survey Analytics server?
Yes.
Is it going to get caught in people's spam because the originating server and the email address don't match? Because we've had that issue in the past.
No, it should not, because we have it edited inside here. Another thing we can also do is just to ensure that there's no problems is that we can give you our IP address so they can we can make sure that nothing gets caught in any filters or anything as well. So I can provide you with that information just to make sure that nothing from you guys sending out through us is going to cause any issues. But we haven't had any problems with that. As long as we can just ensure that people know that that IP address from us is actually good to go and is a-okay. So I'll send that to you separately. So yeah, once you have this sent out, you can go ahead and do, say for instance, you've already got a message. You pull up the list that you want to work with. So I've got my list of 1, which is me. And then you can go ahead and send your email out. So I'm going to go ahead and email this out to myself. And then you can see your email delivery time and everything as well. And you can go back in and just make some more edits to your survey list if you like. So if you want to make changes, you can click and see who it is. You can also make edits to their information. So if you want to add some information about them inside here, you can. And again, like I said, this is specific to the email deployment list. This has nothing to do with the panel. The way the panel gets set up and how it's worked is completely separate. And these are specifically anytime you want to do like a one-off survey and you just want to use our system, that's totally fine. The other thing I want to show you before our time is up here is the opportunity if you want to use a different sampling company to send out surveys. And we do have that underneath our Edit Survey tab. And it's under Survey Control in the left navigation, and we call that our Finish options. So inside here, you can see that we're integrated with a whole host of panels. Some of these, I know we haven't gotten the most recent names for a couple of them. So if you do not see a list or a client that you guys work with, let me know, and we can actually add them in here, and we'll work with your panel provider. So that's important. So what they would need to do is just give us the links to pass back any completes, any non-completes, that kind of stuff. And we pretty much will work with them and do the rest. So for instance here, if you're going to use e-rewards, you can save the changes.
Okay, and maybe this is a call we can set up for later because we have some very specific needs and in the past done this all manually ourselves. So I would like to talk with you about what the process is and what's going to happen if we do sort of turn it over to you, which we're happy to do if it works out for us.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, what we want to do essentially is make this easy as possible. And literally we want you to go in and just pick anybody you're using, and as simple as pie. You literally just pick it, you save it, and this is what you do is you give this link to your panel provider, and that's pretty much it. And then they will do the rest by deploying it, sending it out, and this will take care of everything you need. So each client or each panel company that we integrate with has their own specific link. So you can see this one's completely different from the one that we just did earlier, and you just need to give this to your panel provider. And if you'd like to learn more, you can read here as well. And again, like I said, if you don't find the company that you work with the most, let me know who they are, and I can work with them directly. We'll make sure to provide you with an option just to literally click, one person and then go on, move on from there. And then everything will be collected, just the same way as before. It gets deployed, and then you'll be able to see all your information underneath the reports, and then also work with your panel company to make sure that you give people the right amount of incentive and everything as well. Any other questions about that, about panel integration or third-party panel usage? Okay. All right, and if not, that's totally fine. I wanted to see if, let's see, how much more time do we have on this call today? Are we going until like 1:15. I know I only scheduled it for an hour. And we can always break this up and do another recording with just the reporting as well if you'd like. Does anyone have any opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we've answered all of Shani's questions. I know we're going to have questions about integrating panels.
Okay.
And I think that some of us can stay on a little longer if we'd like. But we should really do that only if there are other questions. So I'd say, does anyone on the team have other questions or stuff they'd like to see?
And I want to let people jump in if they do have questions, but I also want to add, we are more likely to just export the data into SPSS if that's possible, or Excel if it's not, and use those tools. So we're probably less interested in learning about the tools, although it would be nice to know it's available in case you do want to use it. But I'm just letting you know we're more likely to sort of pull out the data and run it.
Okay, no problem. So let me just show you guys how you can pull the data that you need. So that's the most important part. So in the reportings here, if you just want to do an Excel raw data report, you can do it in Excel or CSV here. Also, you did mention SPSS. We do offer SPSS export directly. From within side here, you can also do, including open-ended data. You can also add some additional information or filters to it, including dates and times you want to look at, as well as filtering your results. So if you just want to look at just the completes versus non-completes or the whole entire data, you can keep that blank. And same thing with the above here. So if you just want to add some additional filters and look at particular items instead of the whole shebang, so to speak, you can also do that inside here as well.
And if we leave those dates blank, it'll just pull the whole file?
Yes. That's right.
Actually, I do have one question. But, I'm sorry, if that's for the exporting. I would just like to see what the progress page looks like so we can check in daily to see, how many completes we have, and I was interested to know what other items are displayed on that. Does it show the incidence and the average length? Does it show where people are terminating? How easy is that to access?
Yes, there's two areas that you can do that. In our report, we have a real-time summary report here that will pull up some basic information in terms of just, what's happening. You can also share this as well as a static link, so you can just see basically, what's going on in your survey. If you'd like to do a more in-depth rundown of your current status of your survey, you can go ahead and look at what we call participant stats. It's right underneath your statistics. You can review, who's started, who's completed. You can pull up the particular people. You can also look at some participants' email invitations and see, who exactly has been sent out and what's the count. And then you can also look at some grouping and segmentation participant stats below to see, who's meeting these as well. We also have below here some advanced meta-analysis options, so dropout analysis available. So if you are looking at and seeing that particular people are dropping out at certain areas in your survey, you can pull it up and see where in your survey are people most likely dropping out. Where do I need to make some changes? We also have a domain report, which, if you have anybody who is coming from, what kind of emails are they using in order to get that are taking the survey.
Actually, it looks great. That looks like exactly what we need even at the very top. We're coming from a system that didn't actually time our surveys because it wasn't set up that way, so that's nice to know we can actually see average time here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really important one, actually. A lot of people really like that.
And I would assume that these things here on the left, they mean what they say. So started means people who started the survey, like maybe they entered the first question and stopped. Viewed, does that mean that they clicked on the link to the invitation?
Yes, that's they actually clicked and viewed the actual survey itself.
Okay. And then completed seems pretty obvious and sort of drop out. I mean, yeah, this is great to have right here. Thank you.
Yeah, so so that's important as well. And a lot of the started and the completed, they're pretty much hardwired according to what the people are clicking on. So if you'd like to, click in more and see exactly who these people are, you can actually go into the response IDs and actually view them individually. Also, if there's any incidences where if you see anyone who is, and you can also look at the response ID here, if you just want to look at people who started but didn't complete the survey, this is another area I can tell you. This is where you can also go in, either edit responses, or you can send them the survey link once again. Hopefully this will open up. And so this is here just a report of everyone who started the survey but they didn't complete it. And so you can go in and see what their responses are. And it should have, I don't see where it is, but normally there would be, I think it's because it's an old survey as well, and normally there would be a link that you can share with someone and then they can take the survey where they left off as well. Also in the response ID, if you ever have an incident where you need to go in and make some edit to the responses, update some spelling or look at it, anything like that, you can edit from inside here. And once you have the edits, then everything in the report will be updated. You can re-download it and look at your data again with your edits that you've made. Any other questions about those items? If not, I do want to show you a couple of other things that you guys might be interested in. So say for instance, if you do not, have the time, because I know you guys are very busy, from logging in and you'd rather just go ahead and get a report sent to you automatically, you can go ahead and schedule yourself a report and you can have it sent either daily or weekly, and you can choose what day you prefer it on if it's weekly. And then you can also change your data window, so if you want to know what's happened in the past day, past week, past month, that kind of thing, you can also do that. Also, you can add some additional filters to that. So if you are filtering your data and you only want to look at anyone who's made 60,000 or above and what's their response to the survey, you can filter those out and then have it sent directly to you. Or if you would like to schedule the report for someone else in your company that has an account as well, you can pick someone else as well. So those are some options. And of course, anything that you ever download from us, we save a copy. So you can see I've got tons and tons of things inside here. But we don't delete those. So if you ever go in and, say for instance, you completely chop up your Excel spreadsheet, you don't remember what you started off with, you can go in and grab a fresh copy from your download center. We'll save it as is and at the time that you downloaded it. Any other questions with the first 4 tabs that I've gone through? I think I want to stop here for now and then give you guys a chance to work with survey analytics, and then also I can follow up with some of those initial things that we discussed earlier. And then once we have a good feel, we'll be able to move on with the next following 5. And that's usually how we set up our training. So we get the basics of survey analytics out, and then we move on to the next items as soon as you guys get a good feel. Any other questions or comments that I can field from the team?
This is Shawnee. I'm good.
Okay, great.
Anybody else?
I think I'm not hearing any other questions. I think the main thing we want to think about for everybody who's on here is, as you suggested, test it out, but we definitely want to move next to figuring out panels and any other questions about integrating, any stuff you've been doing with other online services, because I don't know those well. So those questions are going to have to come from everybody here.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to say, I will worry about integrating with other, web panels. So I'll take care of that. In the meantime, Esther, is there something that we need to do? Because I haven't gotten any emails from anybody requesting to be added to the panel. Is that all taken care of, or is there a next step we need to do to make sure everybody's actually able to access it?
I will need to look at the contract that John has put together for you guys to see what would be the next step with the panel. but you should already have access to it with your account that we set up. So, technically, Shani, you should have access to every single thing that you see on here.
Okay, and I just now found your email in my inbox, so I'll sign up. But have other people signed up, and do I need to be involved in that process, or once they click the link in their email, are they good to go?
Once they, yeah. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Shani, I've been able to log in. This is Tasha. So I have been able to log in using that email.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and so Shani, what I would suggest is just to go ahead and log in and then go into the survey account. So if you just want to re-email everybody, you literally can just go like this and it emails it out to everybody just this way. And then,
Email them. What do you want me to email them?
well, I'm just saying if no one's gotten their password yet, or if they didn't receive it or would like to receive it again, then you can just go ahead and just log into the admin and just click this and resend them the information.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. So yeah, if anybody has not gotten that email, just let me know.
Okay. All right, so yeah, we'll go ahead and conclude for now, and then Ian, if you'd like to set up another time, we can also do another recording, and we can also talk about the, panel integration if you guys are ready to integrate and create your own panel, or if you want, I can work with Shayna with adding some third-party panel stuff. That won't be a problem. It should be fairly simple for us to do that as long as they're cooperative and stuff, so that should be very easy to do, and we can get those up and running fairly quickly for you guys. So that might be something we might want to expedite and work on as soon as possible, so they'll be available for you guys to use. Anything else? Okay. Alright, so I guess if there's nothing else for now, then either, you go ahead and speak up. If not, I'll go ahead and conclude our training for today. And I'll go ahead and I'll work on making a recording of this survey available, or this training available for everybody. And I'll send that out here in a couple hours. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you, everybody. It was really nice to meet you all, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Okay, bye.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected.